Season 10! You're the demon! Kinda.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
That's right, different opening song, because this is Supernatural. Season 10, Episode 1, Black. So Black is the season premiere to Season 10 of Supernatural, and it picks up 6 weeks after the finale of Season 9. And in Season 9, we saw that Dean got the Mark of Cain and the First Blade, and that whoever has the Mark of Cain can possess the First Blade. The Mark of Cain's having an effect on Dean, and Metatron ends up killing Dean. Sam's all freaking out, but then Crowley resurrects Dean. He tells him that there's like some secret that he never told Dean about the Mark of Cain that turns him into a demon. So he puts the blade in his hands and he's like, "Wake up, Dean Winchester. Now you will see what I see." And then Dean wakes up and you're like, holy shit, he's a demon. I remember watching that scene when I first saw Season 9, I was like, holy shit, I gotta wait until October for Season 10? Please come sooner. And it's finally here, Black, the episode, the season premiere of Season 10 of Supernatural, Black. It is finally here, and let's get to reviewing the episode. So when Black starts out, Sam's torturing this demon. He's looking for answers. He's got his arm in a sling. Jared Padalecki must have hurt his arm when he was doing one of the stunts, so they worked it into the show. So he's got his arm in a sling. He's torturing a demon. The demon's telling him, "I don't know where your brother is." He's like, "Make the call." He's like, he cuts her, which I'll talk about this scene a little bit later in the review. Cuts her, he has the demon blood, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, please drink the demon blood. Please drink the demon blood. Go back on the demon blood. So ultimately, he's cut the demon. He's like, you got the blood right there. Make the call. I want to know where my brother is. And she doesn't make the call, so he kills the demon. And then after that, he goes into like this whole, like, he finds out that there's like this whole like investigation or something about like some murder in a gas station. And he goes to investigate it. He calls Cass to go find him. Cass is sleeping in like some like weird cabin or hotel somewhere in the middle of nowhere. He's dying. He doesn't have his own grace. He's dying because he doesn't have his own grace, and he needs to search for his grace. So he's like, I can try and help you, Sam, but it's like, you know, you have to understand, I'm dying. You do a good job of portraying how Cass is like dying. It's like you just see him. He's like holding his stomach. He's like hunched over like this. He's like. It looks like the dude can barely walk. You're like, holy shit, he really is dying. Then we see Hannah come back. She was in Season 9. I think she's gonna be like a companion to Cass. They go to see this angel named Daniel, who's boring as all shit. Yeah, they talk to him for the whole episode. Meanwhile, in the background, Dean and Crowley are hanging at bars. Dean's singing karaoke. He's banging hot chicks that are like crazy like waitresses at the bar and shit. He's hustling pool. He's eating burgers just like Dean would. He's got a little bit longer hair. And then Sam he goes to this investigation. He goes to one of the police station, goes forward with the investigation, takes a look at the security tapes of the gas station where this murder happened, and he looks and he's like, I know that guy. That is my brother. And he's like, wait, that's not my brother. There's a demon in my brother. Because you see the demon eyes on the camera. It's like, yeah, he wanted to go look at porn. And then he killed somebody. And then we find out that there's this ABP put out on Sam. So this guy named Cole, who used to have a past with Dean. So Cole kidnaps Sam and contacts Dean. He's like, yeah, I have your brother. And Dean's like, nope, I'm not going to save him. You can go ahead and kill him. And boom, end of episode, cliffhanger. Now, I'm not going to lie, I'll admit that I was really excited for this season to get started. I wanted to see the havoc Demon create. I guess they said that he's going to eventually be too much for Crowley, so Crowley's going to have to let him go. I wanted to see that. I wanted to kind of see that like right away. I wanted to see just how crazy he would be. I know this is the first episode. I was so excited for this episode, but in the end, it's utterly a very weak season premiere, and I was very disappointed. It was boring, it was stupid, and it was slow-moving. I didn't like that. Supernatural can't be slow-moving. And to a point, very pissed, because I hate Jeremy Carver now as the showrunner. I've never really liked Jeremy Carver as the showrunner. I always thought that he didn't really have a good grasp on the show, but this just tells me, I'm just like, he's changing all the rules again. I'm just like, okay. Enough, Jeremy Carver. You don't know the show. Quit changing all the rules. Quit trying to tell us that you know the show, because you don't know the show. Every time I see Jeremy Carver in interviews, every time I see him talk in an interview, he's seriously talking like he takes it hard up the ass, and he looks like he takes it hard up the ass. Robert Singer, who has been with the show since day one, is an executive producer. He's like Carver's right-hand man. I do not know how he lets Jeremy Carver get away with this shit. Like, I hate to bring up Bloodlines because we all know how shitty of an episode that is. They spent 2 years making it just to rip off the originals. We all know how shitty of an episode that is, but it's something I have to bring up because this is where I first noticed what went wrong with this episode. Because in that episode, Jeremy Carver thought it would be cool to change how shapeshifters shapeshift. Don't try saying that 5 times fast. And now in this episode, when Sam cuts the demon, he's like, make the call. I'm like, wait, what? Like, demons can't call whoever they're trying to call using demon blood. They've always needed human blood or like some animal blood, but like, never before have we ever seen them use demon blood to make a call, so quit trying to change the mythology. Like, I don't know what, like, does he think we're, like, stupid or something? So that's issue number 1. Issue number 2. Demon Dean in this episode. At least in this episode. I hope it is not like this throughout the rest of the time that we see Demon Dean. But Demon Dean in this episode. Blue. Dean was not a demon in this episode. There was no Demon Dean in this episode. He didn't do anything evil. He didn't act like a demon at all. All he did was act like a douchier version of Dean with longer hair. And both he and Crowley accomplished nothing this whole episode because you know what they did the whole episode? They just stayed in a bar and drank beer and hustled pool and did karaoke. Yeah, so like I said, Demon Dean, he wasn't a demon in this episode. He just acted like a more douchebag version of Dean. He was just rude and obnoxious. He didn't do anything evil. The only thing that came close to him doing something remotely evil was when he killed the guy at the gas and sip. I was like, okay, now that's Demon Dean. And then throughout the rest of the episode, you're like, well, where's Demon Dean? This is just Dean being a douchebag. This isn't Demon Dean. This is not what I expected when Dean became a demon at the end of Season 9. I expected him to go on like a full like killing rampage, for Christ's sake. Because they said in like promos and interviews before the season aired, they're like, yeah, he's going to be too much for Crowley to handle. Like, Crowley's going to have to let him go. But based on this, I'm like, how can Crowley not handle this? He's doing nothing! And then there's the whole issue with the story, and if somebody could please tell me what the story is for this episode, I would like to know, because I don't know. There is no story for this episode. We just get boring-ass Sam trying to hunt down Dean with boring-ass Cass trying to find his grace with boring-ass Hannah. Then you get boring-ass Demon Dean, who's not a demon. He's more of a Dean who's a douchebag with boring-ass Crowley at this boring-ass bar doing boring-ass karaoke and banging boring-ass chicks who are supposed to be hot, but they're not hot. Leading to Sam's capture of this boring-ass hunting guy that used to have a past with Dean, and Demon Dean being boring as all shit again at the end, saying that he's not going to save Sam, and then we even go even further with boring-ass Cass and boring-ass Hannah going to meet this boring-ass angel guy named Daniel, just so he can tell him that boring-ass Megatron is stuck in a boring-ass cell in boring-ass heaven. Yeah, I know, I just use that phrase boring-ass a lot, because that's what this episode is. It is a pile of boring-ass fucking shit. And then in the interview I just read online with stupid-ass Jeremy Carver, who's bringing witches into this season for some reason because he has to rip off everything he sees on TV. He's in the interview, he's like, well, we're only bringing witches into this season, but we're also going to tell the fans that this is going to be a slow-moving season. Oh, great, so now I'm going to fall asleep and be bored out of my fucking mind watching this show. And that angel Daniel that Cass and Hannah meet, what the hell is up with him? He's gonna be like the stupidest angel I've ever seen. Metatron once said in Season 9, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna rebuild heaven, but no stupid angels. That's how this show should go now. They shouldn't have any stupid angels on the show, but Daniel, yep, he's one of those stupid angels. Half the episode, Cass's storyline in this episode deals with him and Hannah talking to this guy about how to get Cass's grace back, and he's boring as all shit. Again, another part of the episode where nothing gets accomplished. Like, you could have had it, like, I'm not saying get Cass's grace back right away, but I mean, at least give him, like, a clue or something to get closer to that. But no, nothing got accomplished because they were talking to this asshole the whole time. And this asshole's just like, well, yeah, well, since Metatron's up in jail in heaven, all the angels are safe to return, but I'm not returning. What do you mean you're not returning? You're free to go! Metatron's not holding anything from you guys! You guys can go back to heaven! I mean, Cass actually has a reason to stay on Earth because he's looking for his grace and he's dying. You, I don't know. I don't know anything about you. You're boring, you're an asshole, you seem like an asshole, you're stupid. Why don't you just go back up to heaven? Megatron's in jail, you dumbass. I just said Megatron instead of Metatron. Megatron's a Transformer. Yeah, but if he were to fight Metatron, Metatron would totally whip his ass. And then Crowley and Demon Dean, their storyline, nothing gets accomplished with that storyline either, because they're in a bar doing karaoke for half the episode. It's like the karaoke thing was kind of like cool at first, but like at the same time it was kind of like, okay, is this a joke, or is this supposed to be part of how Demon Dean acts? And then you do it again and you're like, yep, it's just a joke. They're just throwing it in there to get laughs because they think this TV show is now a comedy. There is one thing I am on the fence with, and that is the guy who plays Cole. I don't know what to expect from Cole. We just know that he had a past with Dean, and it's like, that's kind of treading old ground. But at the same time, he did kidnap Sam. He is trying to torture Sam. With this guy, we don't know anything about this guy. This is the first time I've ever seen this guy. We just know that he's got the Klob gun from GoldenEye. You know, the stupid, like, submachine gun, the small one from GoldenEye. You know which one I'm talking about. We just know that he's got this huge-ass gun collection, and he kidnapped Sam, and he could be lethal, so I'm interested to see where he goes as a character. Don't get too afraid, though, because despite all the shitty, stupid shit that I just talked about for like the past 10 minutes in this review, there is a silver lining in this episode. There's actually a couple silver linings. First off, we actually do get a glimpse of how lethal Demon Dean can be when he's by himself. Like, even though he acts like Dean in the episode, if Dean were a huge douchebag, even though he acts like that in the episode, there is a brief glimpse of Demon Dean killing somebody. He's not just killing this guy because he has a grudge against this guy. It looks like he's just killing him just for the hell of killing him, which I thought, oh. So that's where we could go with Demon Dean. That's how lethal Demon Dean can be, and that's, I think, why my disappointment for Demon Dean is expressed in this episode, because we saw that, and then we didn't see any more of that for, like, the rest of the episode. There was, like, a brief, like, bar fight where he took some guy from the bar, brought him outside, and beat the living shit out of him. That's not really a Demon Dean thing. I don't really consider that Demon Dean. That's just him being Dean when Dean's a douchebag. Kind of like how he acts for the rest of the episode, but this one scene in particular in the gas and sip where he just kills this random guy where it seems like for no reason, that I'm excited to see if they portray Demon Dean the way he should be portrayed, like that scene showed us. I'm excited to see Demon Dean. Another good thing I want to talk about, holy shit, Cass, the way he's written, holy shit, he's written really well, except for the stupid stuff that he goes off to do later in the episode. Holy shit, like, his physical, like, state is written really well. Like I said earlier in the review, we see him, like, really weak, like, he's hunched over, he's holding his, stomach, like, there's, like, cramps in his stomach, it looks like, that's why he's holding it, like, he's sleeping, he's an angel, like, we learned that angels don't sleep, but then he was human, he started sleeping, and now he's, like, losing his grace, he's dying, he's sleeping. You're just like, oh, well, he's an angel that sleeps now. Wow. I guess I'll give Hannah props, too, because she's not terrible. I mean, she hasn't gotten on my nerves yet. She's only been in a few episodes of Season 9. She was in the first episode of this season. She hasn't gotten on my nerves yet. I think if she ever does get on my nerves, I think that's going to be the point where I'm going to be like, okay, get her out of the show. I'm not saying to get her out of the show now. I'm saying, you know, maybe she's a little pointless right now, but I mean, she's a lot less annoying than I thought she was going to be. And Crowley, he's badass as always, cracking badass one-liners, even though he does nothing this whole episode. He's still a badass, and then he cracks another joke referencing Season 8, how we all hate the Amelia storyline, so he references that. What are you doing calling me Moose? You hit another dog. Do I have to come save your ass again? And that was funny. I laughed at that part. And the episode does end on a cliffhanger, so I'm sort of excited to see where they go from here. I mean, they got this Cole guy that's holding Sam hostage, and they have Demon Dean, and despite it being a cliffhanger, the episode doesn't really end. It just kind of stops. Which I'm not saying that as a bad thing. It just kind of took me by surprise. I saw that scene, I was just like, wait, what? The episode's over? But it's a good cliffhanger. To go into brief detail about it, Cole has Sam captured, locked away in some far-off place that we don't know about. He says that he knows Dean. He calls Dean with Sam's phone, and Demon Dean picks up. He's like, yeah, hello. He's like, yeah, this is Cole. Remember me? Yeah, I got your brother. Come get him. And Demon Dean's like, nope. Go ahead, kill him. I don't care about him. And that's how the episode ends. And you're like, holy shit. So maybe we will finally see a good Demon Dean. None of that. This is just Dean if Dean were a douchebag type of bullshit that we saw for half the episode. So in the end, Black was very hyped up. It ended up being very disappointing because Demon Dean was not portrayed in the way he should have been. Jeremy Carver changed all the rules on us again. Everybody in this episode had nothing to do. All the story was boring. There's no story in this episode. Everybody had boring shit that they had to do. Nothing got accomplished. We really don't see who's going to be the big bad. They're not really setting up anything for this season except for Cole. But I do like the brief glimpse that we saw of how lethal Demon Dean can be. I like the fact that we're seeing the effects that Cass's other angel grace, that it's not his own angel grace, it's some other angel's grace. I like how we're seeing the effects of how that's slowly killing him, and I also like the fact that this episode ends on a cliffhanger. It can bring us down a couple avenues that the show probably hasn't been down before. We don't know who this Cole guy is. I think he can be a good character. I don't think he can hold his own as a villain for half a season. If he's there for the first 4 or 5 episodes, then yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, I'd be cool with that. But Jeremy Carver also teased witches, and he said the season's going to be kind of slow moving. So in that sense, this episode wasn't terrible. It was a decent episode, but it was very weak. And, I mean, it was very disappointing. It wasn't what I expected from a Supernatural episode. I'll actually take back that last statement because I think if this was an episode later in the season, it would have worked fine, but it doesn't really work as a premiere. It's one of the weaker premieres. It's probably the weakest premiere of the show. Which upsets me to say that Black is probably a Supernatural episode where you will find yourself sleeping within 2 minutes of watching this episode. Yep, don't bother me. I'm already sleeping on the couch tonight. And I don't feel like I'm the only one who thinks this. I think I saw a lot of people on the IMDb message board say that this episode kind of sucked. I don't want to say it sucked because there were positive things that came out of this episode, but it just wasn't that good either. So for all you Supernatural fans out there, have you seen the season premiere for Season 10? What did you think of it? Did you think it was boring or did you think it was intriguing? I want your thoughts, so drop me a comment in the comments section, and as always, for more reviews on movies, music, video games, and TV shows, don't forget to hit the subscribe button.